There is a saying among classic car enthusiasts: they don't make them like they used to. And nowhere is that truer than in the case of a Stromberg Carburetor. This small, brilliant piece of engineering powered everything from British roadsters to Swedish Volvos for decades. Simple, reliable, elegant. But something changed in the 1970s. And that change quietly turned everlasting Stromberg into something a little more profitable for its makers. Today, we will uncover the story of the Stromberg that was built to last forever and how a single spring changed everything. Patrick's Garage. Let's rewind to the 1950s and early 1960s. Stromberg carburetors were renowned for their durability and stability. Their design was simple: variable-venturi system, meaning the airflow could adjust dynamically, maintaining a nearly perfect air-fuel ratio across speeds. Unlike the fixed-venturi carburetors found on many American cars, Stromberg's design used a piston-controlled air valve and tapered metering needle. As the engine demanded more air, vacuum lifted the piston, pulling the needle out of the jet and allowing more fuel to flow. Always in perfect proportion. No pumps, no extra valves, just physics. This made the Stromberg smooth, economical, and, most importantly, almost impossible to wear out. On early Volvo engines like B18, this was a dream. The metering needle was centrally located, free floating, without any spring pressure. It never touched the jet walls, so it didn't wear. It didn't drift. It just worked year after year, mile after mile. Owners often joked that the only thing can could kill Stromberg was neglect. So how did this little masterpiece function? The Stromberg 175 CD2S, for example, was made of three main sections: flow chamber at the bottom, maintaining the perfect fuel level; the main body, which housed the jet; and the suction chamber at the top, sealed by rubber diaphragm, where the air piston moved up and down. When you pressed the accelerator, the throttle plate opened, vacuum increased, and the piston rose. This lifted the metering needle out of the jet, allowing more fuel to mix with incoming air. Because the venturi area changed dynamically, the velocity and therefore the vacuum at the jet stayed almost constant. That meant beautifully stable mixture control across all speeds. It was an elegant feedback system. Even the acceleration enrichment was hydraulic, using a small damper filled with automatic transmission fluid. When you stomped the pedal, the piston movement was delayed slightly, enriching the mixture for smooth acceleration. Simple, mechanical, reliable. Everything you'd expect from a design that was meant to last forever. But then came late 60s. Emission regulations were tightening. Automakers wanted smoother idle control. And let's be honest, manufacturers wanted more service revenue. Enter the spring-loaded metering needle in engines like Volvo B20. Stromberg introduced a spring that pressed the needle sideways against the jet wall. Officially, this was described as a refinement to ensure the needle stayed centered, reducing vibration and improving mixture stability. But here is the thing. Anyone who taken apart this carburetor knows that centered isn't what actually happened. The spring kept the needle in constant contact with the jet, and that contact caused friction, and friction caused wear. The more you drove, the more that brass jet wore oval. Soon your mixture went rich, your fuel economy dropped, and your emissions skyrocketed. What did you do then? You went to the dealer, and the dealer replaced, you guessed it, the jet and the needle. It's easy to dismiss this as a coincidence, but if you look closer, the timing tells the story. By the early 1970s, Stromberg, now part of Zenith, was supplying millions of carburetors to European automakers. The new spring-loaded needle system increased parts turnover dramatically. A once nearly maintenance-free system now required regular attention. Owners who once tuned their carbs every 50,000 kilometers now found themselves needing needle replacements in half that time. And the official manuals, they explained it all away as a measure for stable fuel flow. But stable for whom? For the engine or for the revenue stream? It's a subtle from a planned obsolescence, hidden inside one of the most beautifully engineered devices of its era. Despite that controversial design change, the Stromberg lived on through countless models and decades. It powered the Volvo B20, Jaguars, even Fords. Today, enthusiasts still debate whether the spring was an upgrade or a downgrade, but the fact remains. The pre-spring versions, like those on early B18 engines, can run flawlessly for decades without major wear. Ask any vintage Volvo owner. If you find an old Stromberg with its needle floating free, hold onto it. That's the real forever carburetor. And while emissions rules and fuel injection eventually made these mechanical masterpieces obsolete, their legacy lives on, not just a piece of engineering, but as a reminder of a time when design served longevity, not turnover. So the next time you see that little carburetor, think about the hands that designed it, about the engineers who built a system so perfect it didn't need a computer, and about how one tiny spring turned an immortal design into consumable part. That's the story of the Stromberg that was built to last forever until someone decided it shouldn't. If you enjoy this dive into carburetor engineering, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow car enthusiast. Because the stories like this remind us mechanical honesty never goes out of style. I'll catch you in the next one on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. click the subscribe button and notifications bell so that way you can be notified as soon as I upload new videos about car repairing.